So
Okay,
you
welcome
can see
everybody.
me
This is
okay?
I can see you okay. This is Mark Skousen of FreedomFest, and I'm Jeffrey Tucker of Liberty.me and the Foundation for Economic Education. I think, Mark, am I right? This is your first Google Hangout live?
Apparently it is, yes. Glad it's working.
Well, you're doing great. This is fantastic. I'm so glad to see you. Wonderful technology, right? Brought to us by the free market.
It, truly amazing, and it's not quite like Skype, but it looks like it's a good deal.
Yeah, it's sometimes it can be better than Skype, but yeah, not always, not always. But the good thing is that we're creating a YouTube even as we speak, which is a wonderful thing. So you don't have to render it or anything like that. There's no recording going on. So anyway, we're here to talk about Freedom Fest. I'm going. I look forward to it every year. This I think it'd be my fifth year. It's an amazing extravaganza, a real boost that you get throughout the year because you get to meet so many friends and do so many nice things. What have you got in store for this year?
Well, I think Freedom Fest is growing every year, and we're doing exciting things every year. This year, of course, our big event is the Paul Krugman-Steve Moore debate, which is pitting the #1 New York Times columnist and #1 Keynesian economist against the #1 Wall Street Journal columnist and supply sider, Steve Moore. And we're going to debate every aspect of this grand debate, this seminal debate about where our country is headed and what is the best government policy. And so, are we in favor of bigger government, more interventionist government, or are we in favor of smaller and freer government? Are we in favor of lower taxes or higher taxes? Are we in favor of easy money versus sound money? Progressive versus flat tax, blue state versus red state, austerity versus stimulus. I mean, you go down the line, and Paul Krugman and Steve Moore differ dramatically on all these subjects. So the question is, which one? Our theme this year, we have a theme that's different every year. We like to make Freedom Fest different each year, and in the past we've had. Are we headed toward Rome? Are we headed for another American or French Revolution? Is Big Brother here? So this year our theme is the American dream, restoring the American dream. And so the question is, what is the best government policy to restore the American dream? And we're just getting tremendous response to this particular big debate between Krugman and Moore. It took me 8 years to put this thing together because Krugman, as you know, has been reluctant to debate. Steve Moore has won every debate that he's ever had at Freedom Fest. So it's really going to be fun, and we're getting a very large media response. We even have Playboy magazine coming to cover the debate, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's remarkable to me that you actually got Krugman to do this. I mean, he understands, doesn't he, that he's going into an audience of freedom lovers, and that he expects to be the odd man out, right?
Yes, but I think he's up to the challenge because he's probably gotten tired of just preaching to the choir, to preaching to his groups. I've attended a number of his um, where speaking engagements that he's done over the years, and he often speaks to a a crowd that is more in his favor. So he doesn't get the big debate that he's going to get here, and frankly, I don't know. He's agreed to do it, and I'm really excited about it. He's coming in a day early and spending some time there, and who knows, maybe he'll write something positive for once about the freedom movement. It's unlikely, but you never know.
Well, the thing is, Mark, if I know anything about the freedom, the culture at Freedom Fest, everybody's going to treat him, very civilly, as a friend, as a colleague, as a participant in the great debate. Everybody will be very, very kind. I don't expect that he'll experience any kind of rudeness or anything like that. I think most everybody at Freedom Fest will be glad that he's there, actually.
Well, I think, Jeffrey, to be honest with you, I'm not so sure that will be the case. I've received quite a few emails that are pretty hostile regarding Krugman, calling him all kinds of names and that sort of thing. We have really emphasized that Freedom Fest in the past has always had both sides of issues. You know, one of the things that I was listing all the things that Freedom Fest is all about, and we have five different conferences or events occurring at Freedom Fest, and the Debating Society is one of them. And really, we've in the past, our people have been very civil. We've really emphasized the formal debate format, so we don't view ourselves as Fox News or MSNBC where they're shouting at each other and talking over each other and that sort of thing. So yes, we want a very civil debate, and as a matter of fact, we are going to do something a little different in this debate as the moderator, and I have a PhD in economics, which I think is important for this debate. And I'm planning to ask specific questions point by point so that each person will address each major issue: austerity versus stimulus, flat tax versus progressive tax, blue state versus red state, Obamacare versus market care, the inequality issues. All of these things will be discussed in a lengthy debate that will last an hour and 15 minutes. It will include questions from the audience, and so we're hoping that it's going to be a very positive experience for Mr. Krugman. And we've actually received letters over the years from many social democrats who have attended our conference, and they've all spoken very nicely about how they were treated and how they were treated as individuals, and not this divisive rhetoric where we put people into labels of left and right and so forth, but rather treat every individual, treat every person who's there, every speaker, as an individual. I mean, we have an inequality debate. We have Robert Kuttner coming in addition to Paul Krugman, and he's going to be on our mock trial. You know, our mock trial is always a really fun event, as you know, Jeff, and we put capitalism on trial and religion on trial and the Republican Party on trial and public unions. And this year we're putting the Federal Reserve on trial. So we have Bob Murphy of the Independent Institute and the Mises Institute as the prosecuting attorney, and we have Robert Kuttner of Business Week and a social democrat who's written a book called The End of Laissez-Faire. He's going to be the defending attorney, and we have Steve Forbes, we have John Allison of Cato, we have Alexander Green from the Oxford Club as star witnesses, and it's really going to be fun. We hope Lisa Kennedy of Fox Business will again be our judge, and that's always a very popular event. C-SPAN will be covering and actually covering the Krugman-Moore debate. They're planning to cover that as well, so it's really going to be a lot of fun this year.
I remember last year, yeah, you're right about Freedom Fest being a kind of a mixed up, crazy adventure. I remember last year at the final banquet showing up, and you had all of these people dressed up as like recreations of hippies from the 60s. You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, which was fun.
The theme was Big Brother, and we had Big Brother and the Holding Company, and Janis Joplin, imitator, and of course Vegas is great for all the imitators and stuff. In fact, rumor has it that Elvis is going to be in the building in our opening cocktail reception on Wednesday night, and that's always a lot of fun. And we're going to have Freedom Fest at night that I understand you're going to be involved in. So there's lots of fun events Freedom Fest is 24/7 fun, education, entertainment. It's a little bit of everything. We have an intellectual feast during the day, and then at night people do what they want to do. That's what it's all about, choice and looking for fun things to do, and Vegas certainly provides that opportunity. So, I think of Freedom Fest as ideally placed in Las Vegas rather than Washington, D.C. So we do have a lot more fun. It's like CPAC on steroids, or Dancing Girls for that matter.
I remember one of the first times I attended Freedom Fest. I got up fairly early in the morning. I thought it was about 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning. We went downstairs to get some coffee, and the place was, a madhouse. People wandered around everywhere, and I thought, my goodness, people sure get up early in Las Vegas.
And they stay late as well, so it's
and I realized that it's just
a lot of fun. And
people never went to bed.
Going down the list. Pardon?
People never went to bed. That was what it was.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why we're doing Freedom Fest at night, because we're adding films and activities. We have. I was listing the 5 different conferences we have. It's like 5 conferences in one. And so we have a Renaissance gathering. So we have debates and discussions and breakout sessions on philosophy and history and science and technology and healthy living. The healthy living sessions are always packed. Then we have our debating society. We have Peter Thiel debating John Mackey on monopoly versus competition. We have a debate on war. What is it good for, between those who believe war is beneficial and those who do not. We have a debate on vaccines that we're going to do this year. We have Dinesh D'Souza, who's getting just out. He's giving his first talk since leaving this confinement center in San Diego, and he's going to be debating the late, great Christopher Hitchens. Now, you're probably wondering, how is it possible that he could debate Christopher Hitchens since he's passed away? But we're trying to arrange a seance so that our friend Christopher Hitchens will return and tell us whether there really is an afterlife or a God, as Dinesh D'Souza has been arguing. And, stuff like that is things that you can only get at Freedom Fest. It's really going to be a hoot. Anyway, we have that. We have we have an investment conference, a full 3-day investment conference for, because what is freedom without financial freedom and the money and the means to have choices in life? So we have a full investment conference with Rick Rule and Doug Casey and Peter Schiff and Alec Green and Bert Doman. We have Don Smith coming from New York, who's outperformed Warren Buffett. We just have a whole string of really great financial advisors doing that as well. And of course, we have a trade show for liberty. We have this wonderful exhibit hall, and it's kind of the center of all of our activities. You'll be there, Liberty Me, along with 100 other exhibitors, and Cato and Heritage and Reason and Fee and all of the free market think tanks are going to be there, in the freedom organizations like Freedom Works and so on. Glenn Beck is coming this time. We have Steve Wynn coming. We have a lot of people that have not come before. So every year is kind of a different event, and then there's all people like you and me who are there every time.
I remember
we have our Anthem Film Festival, which is really fun, and my wife Joanna's here if you want to ask her a few questions about the film festival.
Sure. Love to. You remember, Mark, last year you and I debated anarchism versus menarchism. I thought that went very well, didn't you?
Yes, I did. I believe you lost that debate, no. Jeff. Well,
yeah.
That remains to be seen. But we do have as a matter of fact, this debate never ends, as you know, Jeff. It just never ends. on this anarchy versus limited government debate, and it probably never will. And people never get tired of this debate. And so we have Michael Huemer, and I don't know if you know him or not. He's a professor of philosophy at the University of Colorado, and he's coming in. He has a new book out on the political authority, something like that. And he's asked me. I guess I'm the only fall guy who's willing to make the case for limited government, and so I'm being called a statist by many of your anarchist friends. But anyway, that's going to be another debate that we're going to have.
Yeah, just because it's true, Mark. But you're a good sport. You're a good sport about it. But you're right about last year. Before I spoke, there were more anarchists in the room than after I spoke. So that was...
Well, then maybe you did win the debate. I think the majority were still in favor of limited government, but you're right. You may have picked up more converts than I did. So in that case, you won the debate.
Well, I don't know. I walked away thinking that you had made a pretty, for whatever reason, a compelling case. You said some things that alarmed people. I remember, and I didn't quite address them either because you surprised me with some of your rhetorical points. And I wasn't entirely as prepared as I might have been to deal with them. So you're a very smart guy. You pulled that one off well.
Well, thank you. Anyway, I think that this year is going to be special with the various debates and the panels and the speakers. And by the way, we have quite a few female speakers this year, which we're very happy with. We're trying to diversify and have minorities speaking. As a matter of fact, we have Congressman Alan West coming, and we have a very special program. Your Liberty Me people will definitely want to arrive on Wednesday afternoon for our pre-conference events and then our opening ceremonies. We're going to do a special event that I don't want to reveal to our listeners at this time. It's going to be a surprise event. And we're going to have a number of speakers on the subject of the American Dream theme. And so I encourage everybody to come on Wednesday, July 10th, and to stay all the way through for our Saturday night banquet, which, as you know, is always a lot of fun. We have the Pink Flamingos dance band coming together, and we have Rich Little, the world's #1 impersonator. He's going to be performing. So people should just plan on coming and just having a great 3 to 4 days of entertainment, excitement, 24-hour activity. It's just really going to be a lot of fun.
Last year I enjoyed dancing with Joanne very much. She's quite extraordinary. Did you say that she's there right now?
Yes, she is. I'll introduce you, and you can discuss your dancing techniques with Joanne. Hold on just a second.
Hey, Jeff. Good to see you.
Great to see you too.
And I do have great memories of dancing with you. You can really lead. There is nothing like a man who can lead.
Thank you.
On the dance floor.
Yeah.
We need to get you into our next Freedom Fest Follies. We need to have you in our next big little play that we do.
I know. Are we not doing that this year? We're not doing that this year, but we're doing it next year?
Every other year. We want to keep them hungry for more. So we'll do it next year. We'll have to put you in it.
No, I want to be there because, as you know, I mean, it's not just that I can dance, but I can also sing and even act. So I hope.
Oh, I can't wait! I can't wait. We'll have to talk about it at dinner and figure out what our next play will be.
Yes. Well, now last year you gave us Atlas Shrugged 3, the third. It was a debut, kind of first showing of that. What have you got in store this year for the Atlas Film Festival?
Well, as a matter of fact, I have another great opening night film, which is a secret. It will be announced in the program, but I'm not at liberty to say what it is yet for opening night, Wednesday night film. But I have seen it at a couple of film festivals. It's getting great reviews, so I'm really excited to be able to share that with our viewers. So Wednesday night, right after the cocktail reception. And then the rest of the time, we're focusing mostly on documentaries, as we have in the past. We have a couple of films that talk about the problems, the unintended consequences of the war on terror. We also have one called Power's War that I really love. It tells the story of some Arizona prospectors back during in 1918 who didn't want to go to World War I, and it ended up in the biggest shootout in Arizona history, even bigger than the OK Corral. Because they didn't want to go to the draft. So it's a very timely film. We have some short documentaries that will be showing and short narratives that will be showing during the coffee breaks. So people can just grab some coffee, come into the movie theater, watch a 15-minute movie, and head back out to the exhibit hall, go to the breakout sessions. So it's great. Our film from last year that won the grand prize, Poverty, Inc., which talked about market solutions to global poverty, has been doing terrifically all year. They've been traveling all over the world with it, and it premiered right at Anthem and has been doing wonderfully, making a difference around the world. And Mark Weber, who produced it, will be back this year to talk about it.
Is that the Acton Institute who produced
Yes, the Acton Institute produced it, and it talks about the problems that happen when well-intentioned people, like Tom's Shoes, for example, who have this wonderful policy: if you buy a pair of shoes, they will donate a pair of shoes to someone in an underprivileged country. But the problem is they're putting the shoemakers in those countries out of work, because why would you buy shoes locally if somebody's going to give you a pair of shoes for free? So those kinds of things that they're highlighting and providing market solutions. Tom's is now helping local shoe manufacturers with their local businesses instead of just bringing shoes from the outside. So he's had that kind of an influence.
Wow.
We have another film this year called Imminent Threat that talks about, that was made at FreedomFest, used a lot of interviewers from FreedomFest, and is executive produced by James Cromwell, an Oscar nominee. So we're excited to show that film too.
And this runs all the way throughout the whole of FreedomFest, from Wednesday all the way to Saturday?
It does. Wednesday in the afternoon, we'll start with our short narratives. So every half hour and on the hour, we'll have a new film that we'll be showing on Wednesday from 1 o'clock till 5 o'clock. And then throughout, we'll be doing it whenever there's a breakout session or coffee break. Come to the theater at Sin City Theater, and we'll do the films there. We have a lovely animated film called Junk Girl, made by an Iranian filmmaker, and it's based on a poem by Tim Burton, and in that Tim Burton style, very evocative, wonderful music, and really focuses on what happens when you have no choice in your society.
This must be very exciting for you, because you've been doing, I think, the Atlas Film Festival now for several years, but there's ever more media than ever that's got a pro-freedom message to it, and you've kind of seen this grow, right, over the years. You have more people anxious to have their stuff shown than ever before.
We started this 5 years ago, and my purpose was I wanted to give libertarian filmmakers a venue. It's so hard in Hollywood to be a libertarian. You have to hide yourself because it's not a philosophy that's well accepted. So the filmmakers I do know just had to keep it to themselves. So we've provided a venue where libertarian filmmakers can showcase their work, and they can start having a strong influence in other arenas. And we're seeing that happen. I'm finding more and more actors and Hollywood celebrities coming out, as you might say, as libertarians, and I love to see that. They're having the courage to show their philosophy. So we're hoping maybe we'll get someone like that to come to Freedom Fest at some point and be one of our keynote speakers.
Yeah, maybe you'll get the next Mad Max. I just watched it, and I thought it was absolutely brilliant.
Oh my gosh, what a great film! I was at the Austin Film Festival, South by Southwest, a couple of months ago, and saw the original Road Warrior with George Miller in attendance, and saw it on this huge screen. Loved it, loved it, loved it. And then to go see Fury Road after having just seen the original, it was awesome. Just nonstop action. I loved it.
Yeah,
maybe next year we can have a film like that.
Yeah, it was absolutely mind-blowing, and a great tribute to human freedom, as many of the great movies are, you know, in the end.
Oh, it is. It is. He reminds me. Max reminds me a little bit of Ombre, the Paul Newman character, who is such an individualist. He's just looking out for himself, trying to make his way. He doesn't feel any obligation to help others because he's not. He doesn't have to. But eventually he wants to. And then he goes on his way again, the rugged individualist just trying to survive and make his own way. So I really love the character.
Well, I know
Tom Hardy does a great job. Miss Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson was wonderful, but the new Tom Hardy character is great. He's
great. I know you and Mark are working like crazy to get all of this done, so I'll let you get back to work. I know that it's a big deal. I sense this year even a greater degree of interest in Freedom Fest than I've sensed before. I don't know if that's true, but I mean it seems like everybody's talking about it, everybody's interested in it, and I know I'm looking forward to it in a way that I've never before.
You know, we've really expanded in terms of, we've got Krugman coming, which is huge, but we've also expanded into areas we haven't been before. We've got a lot more diversity coming in. Yeonmi Park, who is this extraordinary young woman who escaped from North Korea, 21 years old, escaped and is now living in the West, in South Korea, but she's coming to speak about her experience. Star Parker is coming. We have some great new characters and speakers we haven't had before. And yes, there is a great buzz. In fact, Mark wanted to tell you a little something more about that. So can I turn the time over to him?
Yeah, sure. Great to see you, Joanne.
Okay, great. Good to talk to you, Jeff, and I'll see you at Freedom Fest.
Very good.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention one of the things that your readers, your viewers, and members would be interested in knowing is our pricing. We do have some special prices. For example, our normal price is $4.95 per person, $7.95 per couple. But we do have some special discounts. Young professionals under the age of 30, which I think involves a lot of your followers, they only pay $3.45 per person, which is a real nice discount. And then we also have student discounts. If anybody is a student, they only pay $99, and so that's a really good deal as well. So if people go to our Freedom Fest website at freedomfest.com and they just check out the different pricing that we have a list of all of our programs that we're doing that are special this time. And we got over 150 speakers coming this year. It's just an unbelievable event, and we have people coming from all over the world who are coming, Jeff, from South Africa, from Russia, from Japan and China, the Philippines, from Argentina, from South Africa, and so forth, the Middle East. It's just great to make it a real international event where you're just having a great time. You know, I've always thought this is what was missing from our freedom movement. We all do our own thing. We have our own websites. We've got our own blogs. We've got our own organization, and we have our own meetings. But the idea of Freedom Fest is everybody coming together once a year, and not just over the phone and stuff, but physically actually meeting. And I can't think of a better place than Freedom Fest in Las Vegas. It is in July. It's a hot conference, but look, that means we have a captive audience. Nobody's going outside. Everybody stays inside during the day, and then they can party and have all the fun they want in the evening. So I'm hoping this gathering will grow. It's not really my conference. It's our conference. We're an open forum. We're always looking for new speakers, and you don't have to wait to be invited. You can contact us, and and speak. If you have something that's important to say, our program is completely full this year, but if you're interested, come and attend. And if you have something that you want to add, then we can add you onto the program next year. So it really is a fun event. We're very excited about you and your support and all of your friends coming. I know you guys are going to be talking about Bitcoin. You're going to be talking about the freedom movement and what that means to you. And you're even going to tell people why they don't need to stop at stoplights. Isn't that the case? Isn't that what you're trying to argue? Or no, it was that people who are drunk shouldn't be arrested. Well, I think that's what you were arguing, right, Jeff?
Yeah, well, of course. I always say anything to get some attention. Yeah. That I agree with that. You know, the thing I like most about Freedom Fest is it lifts your spirits. You know, I mean, there's a lot about being a libertarian that can sometimes be depressing. Freedom Fest is anything but that. So I like that because we have to have a hopeful outlook if we're going to make any progress in this world.
You know, I think you're absolutely right. And people come to Freedom Fest and they say, "Oh my gosh, I had no idea that there were so many people who are like-minded." And they just fall in love with each other. In fact, we've even had a marriage or two at Freedom Fest. Can you believe that? So it's just been a tremendous opportunity, and we're really looking forward to it this year. We put in a lot of work and effort, and I think people will come and recognize that this is just something that's unique and something that everybody should be involved in.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to talk about this. I look forward to seeing you in July, and congratulations to you for such a wonderful conference, and thank you for being with me today, Mark.
Great. Thank you, Jeffrey. See you then. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And he often speaks to a crowd that is more in his favor. So he doesn't get the big debate that he's going to get here, and frankly, I don't know. He's agreed to do it, and I'm really excited about it. He's coming in a day early and spending some time there, and who knows, maybe he'll write something positive for once about the freedom movement. It's unlikely, but you never know.
Well, you know, the thing is, Mark, if I know anything about the culture at Freedom Fest, everybody's going to treat him, very civilly, as a friend, as a colleague, as a participant in the great debate. Everybody will be very, very kind. I don't expect that he'll experience any kind of rudeness or anything like that. I think most everybody at Freedom Fest will be glad that he's there, actually.
And freer government. Are we in favor of lower taxes or higher taxes? Are we in favor of easy money versus sound money? Progressive versus flat tax? Blue state versus red state? Austerity versus stimulus? I mean, you go down the line, and Paul Krugman and Steve Moore differ dramatically on all these subjects. So the question is, which one? Our theme this year, we have a theme that's different every year. We like to make Freedom Fest different each year, and in the past we've had. Are we headed toward Rome? Are we headed for another American or French Revolution? Is Big Brother here? So this year our theme is the American Dream, restoring the American Dream. And so the question is, what is the best government policy to restore the American Dream?
Okay,
so
welcome everybody.
See me okay?
I can see you okay. This is Mark Skousen of Freedom Fest. And I'm Jeffrey Tucker of Liberty.me and the Foundation for Economic Education. I think, Mark, am I right, this is your first Google Hangout Live?
Apparently it is, yes. Glad it's working.
Well, you're doing great. This is fantastic. I'm so glad to see you. Wonderful technology, right? Brought to us by the free market.
Truly amazing, and it's not quite like Skype, but it looks like it's a good deal.
Yeah, it's sometimes it can be better than Skype, but yeah, not always, not always. But the good thing is that we're creating a YouTube even as we speak, which is a wonderful thing. So you don't have to render it or anything like that. There's no recording going on. So anyway, we're here to talk about Freedom Fest. I'm going. I look forward to it every year. This I think it'd be my 5th year. It's an amazing extravaganza, a real boost that you get throughout the year because you get to meet so many friends and do so many nice things. What have you got in store for this year?
Well, I think Freedom Fest is growing every year, and we're doing exciting things every year. This year, of course, our big event is the Paul Krugman-Steve Moore debate, which is pitting the #1 New York Times columnist and #1 Keynesian economist against the #1 Wall Street Journal columnist and supply-sider Steve Moore. And we're going to debate every aspect of this grand debate, this seminal debate about where our country is headed and what is the best government policy. And so are we in favor of bigger government, more interventionist government, or are we in favor of smaller? And we're just getting tremendous response to this particular big debate between Krugman and Moore. It took me 8 years to put this thing together because Krugman, as you know, has been reluctant to debate. Steve Moore has won every debate that he's ever had at Freedom Fest. So it's really going to be fun, and we're getting a very large media response. We even have Playboy magazine coming to cover the debate, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's remarkable to me that you actually got Krugman to do this. I mean, he understands, doesn't he, that he's going into an audience of freedom lovers, and that he expects to be the odd man out, right?
Yes, but I think he's up to the challenge because he's probably gotten tired of just preaching to the choir, to preaching to his groups. I've attended a number of his speaking engagements that he's done over the years, and